Rent-A-Center is probably the most egregious predator of consumers.
From the corporate headquarters of Rent-A-Center in Plano, Texas, to your neighborhood, if you live somewhere like this, Rent-A-Center offers big-ticket items like furniture, appliances, and electronics to millions of people with no credit, bad credit, or on a fixed income. They rack up sales in the billions by charging excessive prices, adding hidden fees and charges, and then repossessing and reselling the merchandise, sometimes misrepresenting it as new.
We came about this issue because the church where Minister Robinson is a minister was a victim of Rent-A-Center. The New Life Tabernacle, which Minister Robinson is a minister, wanted to get a big screen television so that their congregation could observe the election returns at the church.
Once we got a hold of the contract, I started evaluating the contract. I got it from my pastor, Bishop Eric Figueroa, and I said, man, there's some things that are not right here. On the top of the contract, it said that the television was used. And then down there, they said the cash price for the television was $1,800 and something. So now I'm sitting there saying that how are you gonna have a television that's used for $1,800? The amount of the television, if we decided to keep it over a period of time, and because you already signed the rent-to-own contract, so the television could have just stayed in the church, and we would have been paying $4,000 for a used television.
400% or 500% is loan sharking. In any other, if it's cash, it's loan sharking. And if it's cash, you have more direct regulations that prohibit those behaviors. But with products, with retail and consumer products, it's a different ballgame.
Say you're making payments on a queen-size mattress from Rent-A-Center. The average retail price is $500. At Rent-A-Center, the price is $850 if you buy it off the floor. If you want to make payments for a couple of years, the total cost would be $2,300. So why do people go to Rent-A-Center if it's such a ripoff?
We're both retired, we're both on fixed incomes, and this was like great at the particular time. We had just recently gotten married and moved into an apartment together. Especially if you have a household with children or you're elderly or you're disabled, you just can't plop down $4,000 at one time.
As you no doubt know, this transaction is also frequently used by cash and credit-constrained individuals and families. Our customers are everyday Americans that cannot simply write a check for the purchase price or hand over a credit card with no worries about paying off the balance.
Let's face it, sometimes getting the things you want for your home can be tough. Maybe you've been turned down because of bad credit. Maybe you can't get those brand name products you want because of no credit. Or maybe you just don't have stacks of money lying around for those huge down payments required from those big department stores.
What Rent-A-Center is doing is saying, yeah, you're entitled to a flat screen television the size of the wall behind me. You should have that. Everybody else has it. But at what cost?
The contract was so lengthy that by the time I got the full comprehension of actually what I had gotten into, it was too late.
Their business model says, let's go find the poorest people and let's make sure that we get the first cut of whatever they get every week. It allows people to come in and watch TV on an oversized television and trade off their mortgage payment and trade off their children's tuition payments, and whether or not, maybe they'll have to skip 2 or 3 dinners next month to be able to watch the Super Bowl on a screen the size of the wall behind me. But, when that helmet flies off, hey, there's no beating that.
32 out of 38 Rent-A-Centers are located in low-income communities of color, neighborhoods like Bed-Stuy, Jamaica, or here in Bushwick. In January of 2009, Taharka Robinson and Kirsten Foy were among those testifying before the City Council Committees on Consumer Affairs and Civil Rights at a hearing on rent-to-own retailers in the city. It went a long way towards legitimizing the issue in the eyes of both legislators and the public.
$4,008.99 for a used plasma television is unconscionable, illegal, and should shock the conscience of anyone who cares about building wealth in our community.
This is nothing less than in comparison to the subprime mortgage crisis, because people are continuously getting duped into believing that they're going to own something that they never will.
So Rent-A-Center is actually undermining wealth development and building in communities all across this country. Repossession policies of Rent-A-Center are also under question.
If you've made more than half your payments, Rent-A-Center will give you a limited time to continue paying. Anything less than half and you lose everything you've put in if you miss one payment. In fact, a small but significant percent of rent-to-own repossessions are completed by breaking into the customers' homes. The Federal Trade Commission estimates about 7,000 of these break-in repossessions occur each year.
In many places, they use off-duty law enforcement to go into people's homes to repossess these items. So when we talk about victims of Rent-A-Center, the scope is broad.
There is a major loophole in the New York State personal property law. They have a rental purchase agreement in Article 11 of that law, and it allows them to set the price of the merchandise at their discretion.
Over the past 4 years, several attempts have been made to pass legislation that would help protect consumers from places like Rent-A-Center without success. But this new round of grassroots activism is helping to generate the necessary energy to pass meaningful legislation.
So Bishop Eric Figueroa, who is the Bishop of New Life Tabernacle, who engaged in the contract, came to Taharka, myself, and said, y'all boys got to do something. Taharka said, what do you think we should do? He called a meeting with some of the local leadership, including myself, and we hashed out what we were going to do. We decided we would engage in civil disobedience in order to get our message out about Rent-A-Center.
Now, since we've been engaged in the protests, we have had several bills drafted in the New York State Assembly and the New York State Senate in regards to the rent-to-own industry. We will be going to Albany on lobby days on a consistent basis to make sure that one of these bills or a couple of these bills are put together to where they hit the floor to be voted upon.
And we're going to be organizing national boycott against Rent-A-Center, not only to push their revenues down and affect their revenues, but strategically, more importantly, their business model.
I can tell you one thing, every time we go in front of one of these stores, no one goes in them.
Give the money back! Give the money back! Give the money back! Give the money back! Give the money back!
You better know that's what they wanna do.
Give the money back! Give the money back!
Give the money back! Give the money back! But if you're not, you better look out for you. You better know it, 'cause there are people in this world who do not want you to thrive. There are people in this world who want a piece of you, and they'll take your hard-earned money for the rest of your life.